Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, a pilot into the universe of Chinese. I'm here to share with you my knowledge about my language. And you will think, okay, I'm a native speaker and naturally I know about my language, right? No, not true. It's a discovery journey for me as well because I started with simplified Chinese, which is a little bit I had this distanced from the original Chinese because throughout the evolution of the Chinese language, I would imagine it's thousands of years, if not tens of thousands of years of the evolution, that throughout the history, the language was changed and transformed. And then until the recent, like within 100 years, I think in 1958, for the purpose of literacy, increased the literacy rate in the population. The Chinese government back then decided to simplify Chinese to make it simple to pick up. Because, simplified Chinese already to a Western eye will look too complicated, too many strokes in it. And it's not like English. You only have 26 letters, all combinations of the letters, right? It's simple. But Chinese, each individual character comes with its own story. You have to memorize all of that. It's such a big burden, right, at the beginning. So the learning curve at the beginning of the language is huge. Even for me as a native speaker, I was born into the language. So I know how to hear and listen and speaking. That's how, as a child, I started, right? And then put characters onto the sound or the meaning of it. And that's a whole training process. Like we have to repeatedly copy a Chinese character so many times to kind of muscle memory it. So anyways, I'm here to share with you what I'm discovering about this native language through not only the lens of simplified Chinese language users, because that's definitely doesn't show much. It's truncated language in simplified. So I have to go to most likely traditional Chinese and then go even further to its original form. Okay, so yesterday we talked about 设计 design, and today we go with 计时, carrying over one character into today. 计时, you can see 计, measure time. When we say measure time, we can almost imagine what that means, right? It means you time something. So that's 计时. Like if you want to do something, want to know how fast you can finish this task, it's 计时. Okay, in sports, right? In sports especially, every second counts. I guess depends on what sports. So definitely there are this time measurement. That's a critical criteria. The fastest, right? So that involves with 计时. And also in work, right? You got your hourly pay or annual pay. However, like you have this time-based payment form, and that's another form of 计时. Okay, so 计, I translate as a measure. Okay, it's made up of left and right structure. The left means speaking. Okay, I speak too much about speaking lately because I came across this multiple times in a series. The bottom is the mouse symbol, and then the two convex shape with this vertical line connected made it into the tongue, because this first convex shape with the vertical line is the act of entering, and then the second convex shape is a pointer to signify it's the new space that we're talking about. So if you're entering from outside to inside, then here is the inside. The indicator is pointing toward the new space. So when we connect that with mouse, that means inside the mouse. And the thing inside the mouse is the tongue. Chinese has a whole set of characters describe different kinds of teeth. So teeth are visually depictable, but tongue, think about it. The tongue is a moving thing inside the mouth. It's difficult to depict what exactly the shape of the tongue, right? So language creators use this indirect way to tell you, okay, we're talking about the thing inside the mouth. Eventually the thing inside the mouth is too much to say, right? Then that becomes that framed into this frozen character that's pronounced as 舌. That means the tongue. And the two horizontal lines are the sound bites, traveling over space and time, diminishing in its energy form. So that's the result of speaking. And the bottom, the tongue, and with the mouth embedded in this character of the tongue, the mouth and the tongue together, they are the organs, the main organs that produce speaking, right? Sound bites is a result, and then we have an organ together is the whole practice of speaking. Okay, speaking, the right side is a roping technology because ancient record keeping starts with roping. And that's, I would imagine roping, once you tie a knot on the rope, either you cannot untie it, or if you do, traces will show. So it's kind of like a permanently erasable, unerasable record keeping. So by roping, because I would imagine from 1 to 9, you can count with your 9 fingers. I mean, with your 10 fingers, you can count. When it comes to 10, it becomes like too much to count. So since 10, it starts this permanent record keeping by tying a knot on the rope. So this horizontal line is an indicator, another kind of like an arrow pointing thing, indicator on the rope. Vertical line is the rope indicator, like there's a knot over there because the knot is too small to visualize, so we'll make it bigger, intersect it. So that means 10, because 10 is the minimum unit of record keeping on roping technology. Okay, number 10 plus speaking together means calculating or measure, because 10 is quantification of things, right? And then speaking, we can say it's a communication, it's a qualification of things. So both qualify and quantify combined together means we're measuring something. I mean, how complicated Chinese thinkers are when they put together this measuring icon. Okay, so together in contemporary time, we can regard this character either as calculate, which emphasize its quantifying side of it, or measure something, because to calculate anything, you have to start with measuring things, right? So in any case, it means measuring in this context, and we're talking measuring time. So how Chinese express time? Of course, it comes with the sun. So the sun, the sun symbol, because I guess at the beginning of time, humans, how they have a sense of time before they even have calendars, how they're going to have it. It would be like looking at the sun circulating every day, right? At least that's one day. So 日, the sun, was used as day. Yeah, I was trying to think about English, if English, the concept of day actually relates to the sun, but probably not actually. But in Chinese, it is. We use a sun means a day. Total making sense, right? So the sun have this original form would be like a depicting of a sphere, right? But Chinese rectangularize it, and then because it's a part of the component, so on the left side, so it kind of squished, so it's disproportional to its original physical representation. But by the structural sense of it, it's a border, a kind of a circle, oval shape now, with a horizontal line in it. The horizontal line signifies the energy in it, contained in it. So Chinese ancient language creators symbolize it. It's not only it's a sphere, but there is energy emitting from the sphere. That's the sun symbol. And the right side have this 3-finger hand symbol with a pointer. And this pointer means an inch down. You may ask why you know it's an inch down. Because Chinese ancient medical practice, before all that contemporary pharmaceutical company or medical device company make this expensive measuring machines that you have to spend a ton of money on, Chinese came with this simple practice of pulse reading, 1 inch down. The doctors will touch exactly 1 inch down your wrist to feel your pulse. And through the pulse reading, a lot of things can be diagnosed, whether you're pregnant or not, whether a heartbeat is irregular or not. All that can be detected just by an experienced Chinese doctor. By this touching, a lot can be told. Okay, so this then ancient practice of this 1 inch down pulse reading then become the signifier to mean it's an inch down, becomes signifier to mean that it's a rule, a policy, like you cannot move further away from it. That's the rule. That's a common shared practice. All of it, all Chinese doctors conduct it exactly the same way. So that's kind of a rule setting. And then the top have this trident thing, looking thing with horizontal line at the bottom. That is, we can view it as actually, that is a Chinese character for this or here that came from the plant growing on top of the ground. The horizontal line is a ground symbol because above the ground is what's visible to us, right? So above the ground, we see this plant, and that's Chinese symbol for here and now. Is that weird? Because how to express when we're talking about something, and in English we have this something. That thing is a pretty abstract concept. You can have all kinds of things as the thing, right? When contemporary English user become lazy, they just say the thing, and the responsibility falls on the listener to interpret what that thing is. So the thing becomes a variable. It's a referral of something else, something, right? So same as Chinese here, it's a thing. It's the plant growing in there. It's Chinese equivalent of the thing. Okay, but it came from this plant growing. So as an agrarian society, to grow plant is the primary survival thing for them. Okay, I'm using thing. Okay, survival activity for them. So to plant in the right season, right timing, right, the sun, to make the plant grow, you have to follow a certain rule. Like you have to place the seed, like from the seeding to farming to weeding, all that whole slew of activities, back-breaking activities, I would imagine, of agriculture back then, that you have to follow certain rules. So this rule reading together with the planting, and together with the sun symbol, it means you need to do your planting at the exact space and time. You have to plant the seed at the exact right season, at the exact right below the ground level, exact depth of the below the ground level to plant the seed. So all kinds of rule setting related to farming activity. Then eventually to mean the exact timing for you to plant. I guess in agriculture, timing is super important, and the plant is super sensitive to timing, not only at the planting stage, but at the harvesting stage as well. China used to have this holiday of like a harvesting season, like students in high school or something, they need to go back to help their parents to harvest because it's super time sensitive. So this time then is connected to farming activity, that you have to follow the rule and do the exact timing with the sun to make the plant, a successful year of farming. So that's a Chinese, very winded way to explain what time means to Chinese. Okay, so measure time together is Chinese way to say timed. Something is timed. hourglass is obvious symbol of time. All right, cash into the concept of thinking by one word a day with Sophie. See you another day.